Hey guys, how are you? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing a review of a thriller from France, French language English subs, released in the year 2006, directed by Guillaume Canet, and this movie is called Tell No One. And the story to Tell No One is as follows. Dr. Alex Beck is left unconscious after his wife and childhood sweetheart Margot is brutally murdered. 8 years on and still unaware of the truth, Alex receives an anonymous email. Clicking on the link, he sees a woman's face in a crowd, Margot's face. But before this can sink in, Alex is thrown headlong into a deadly chase, running from both the police and a team of killers who will stop at nothing to keep the truth hidden. So the movie starts off with Dr. Alex Beck, who's the main character. He is a very successful doctor, and he's also madly in love. One night, when he decides to go skinny dipping with his wife, he is knocked unconscious, and his wife is brutally murdered. So he wakes up on the deck. He's out of the water, so he doesn't know how he got out of the water, but it seems someone had dragged him out. So he wants to know what was behind his wife's murder because it appeared that she wasn't in trouble with anyone. But 8 years have passed and it's still unsolved. New evidence comes to the surface. Now, initially the police were suspicious of the fact that Dr. Alex Beck was knocked out in the water, but yet he didn't drown, that someone had put him out onto the deck. So that suspicion was always there. But when this new evidence resurfaces 8 years later, it puts him into the spotlight a lot more. So Dr. Alex Beck is trying to prove his innocence, and this is complicated when he gets an anonymous email. On the email is surveillance footage of this subway station. These passengers are leaving the subway, and then all of a sudden one of these passengers looks up at the camera and it appears to be Margot's face. So Dr. Alex Beck, as you could imagine, is absolutely blown away by this. He wants to know what the hell's going on, and maybe, just maybe, his wife might not be dead. But at the same time, he has to try and get to the bottom of this while evading the capture by the police who are after him, and also a team of killers who are hell-bent on covering up the truth. So that's all I'm going to give you on the synopsis. If you want to know more, please go out there and see this film for yourself. Now, my thoughts on Tell No One. Guillaume Canet is a very, very good director. Now, what I love about Guillaume Canet is that his other film, Little White Lies, that's a romance film, and I hate romantic movies. But I loved Little White Lies because it pushes the boundaries of romance. It's not cheesy, and it feels very realistic, and the characters are so well drawn out that you can relate to them. It's got a little bit of you in the characters, so it's taken a little bit of characteristics from people you know and maybe of yourself, and so you put it into the character and you feel like you've known them for a long time, so you're just one of the gang. And that's why I felt Little White Lies worked so well, because it wasn't forced, it didn't feel cheesy, it just felt like a realistic portrayal at love lives and the complications of that. So Little White Lies is one of my favourite movies, and I was surprised to see that it was billed as a romance film. So he's got a habit, Guillaume Canet, of pushing the boundaries of genres and making it feel like you're not watching a film from that particular genre. So that's what I liked about him so much, and that's why I didn't have any hesitations coming into a thriller directed by him, because I thought he could have utilized his his talent as a director and changed it into a different genre, which is exactly what he does in Tell No One. Now, what I loved about Tell No One is the story. It's such a good story that it keeps you captivated. He gives you enough clues as to where the film is going, but he leaves it just out of reach. So you want to know what's around the next corner. You want to know the identity behind this character. You want to know more about this character. And another character comes in, you want to know more about him. So there's a lot of time and attention done to every single character, not just the main character, but every single character that comes in. You feel that they might be hiding something, that they might be bad guys, they might be good guys. Who can you trust? All these unanswered sort of questions, but the questions that do get answered eventually. But it feels like the director is having a lot of fun. He's keeping you, he's playing you, kind of like a yo-yo. You're up and down. You're trying to find out what the hell's going on, but he's just keeping it out of reach. So you're reaching, and then towards the end, when you're out of breath, you're finally given the clues. You're finally giving what's happened, and then you feel like you've experienced the film. So Tell No One combines a lot of genres. You've got romance. It's a very tragic romantic story. I thought that the main character, played by Francois Cluzet is one of the best actors in the world, in my opinion. And he plays Alex Beck to perfection. A very, very down-to-earth, relatable sort of character. You want him to... He's obviously been shattered by this horrible tragedy, but then when this new thing comes up, the surveillance footage, you feel that there's hope, and that he's clinging to the hope, but you feel that it might be a misunderstanding. It might be just someone that looked like Margot, and that he might be, clutching at straws. So you feel that there might be a heartbreak at the end, but there's that little glimmer of hope that the director gives you. So you'll go along on the ride with Francois Cluzet as he tries to to solve this mystery. So, on a mystery level, it is very, very good. The story is just really complex, and it comes together and gels perfectly. It feels like the director is not putting any effort in it at all. It all comes very naturally. So that's why I felt that the supporting cast were just as good as the main character, and as each character comes in, the plot thickens and it takes you into a different direction. But the twists and turns don't prevent the movie from continuing smoothly. And the pacing of the film, the continuity was really well done. So there's just a little twist and turn. There's nothing that's mind-boggling that completely changes the direction of the film. But as I said, it just keeps you interested, and it just adds a lot more flavour to it as it goes along. As far as an action film is concerned, I thought the choreography and the chase sequences amongst the best I've seen in any film. A lot of people complain about realistic sort of chase movies where they use the shaky camera. This movie doesn't require shaky camera, but it feels like you're there. You feel as though at the end of these chase sequences, you're out of breath. And for Guillaume Canet to do this while he is very still in the camera work shows a lot of talent, because he doesn't resort to the cheap trick that is shaky cam. So I know a lot of people hate shaky cam, but you're going to be pleasantly surprised to see that there is no use of shaky cam in this film. Cinematography was absolutely fantastic. The only problems I have with the movie is the fact that I thought the soundtrack was a little bit off, didn't really match the mood to the film, and it felt really out of place. And I thought by the end of the film, it kind of has these little periods where there's a boring sort of lull. Now, yes, it does contribute to the story, and it does, make the story a lot, more in depth. But there's just little lulls. So you've got a really, really suspenseful and, breathless sort of action sequence, and then it goes into a quiet patch, and then it goes right up again, and then it goes into a quiet patch. So those little quiet patches don't derail the film, but it does prevent it from the continuity being perfect. So if you cut it down by about 30 minutes, I thought it would have been perfect. The pace would have been electric. But having said that, it does contribute to the story when you get into these little periods where they're talking. So I'm not going to be too critical of that. I'm not going to tell you anything about the ending, so I don't want to give it away. But in the end, you feel to yourself that you have watched a movie, and a very good one at that. So it blends a lot of genres in, and it feels like, it is a movie that is very realistic. The chase sequences are very realistic. The characters are realistic. As I said, you can relate to them, especially the main character. I thought he was really likable. You want him to get to the bottom of it. But the thing that makes the movie succeed so well is the story. It's one of the most interesting stories I've seen. When you see the woman look up, you think to yourself, yeah, that is Margot, but what the hell's going on? She's supposed to be dead. And from that moment on, you want to know more. So the story completely captivates you, and it feels like the director is fully aware of this, and he's just playing you along. So it does add up to a very, very satisfying experience. Those little criticisms do prevent it from being a masterpiece, but it is still a very good film, and it's a film that I'm highly recommending. So overall, I'm going to give Tell No One 4 stars. I was really, really happy with it. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.